Hey, how you doing, everybody? All right, a quick little video here because last office hours on last Thursday, a few people asked me how to do well on the course, and we kind of talked about some recommendations, some advice I would give. But of course, there was just like 50 people in office hours, so not everybody heard that. And then after class, Maya, one of your classmates, came up to me and again asked me that same question. And rather than answer it for Maya there, and there was only about 3 or 4 or 5 other people around at the time, I asked her if it was okay if I could create a video to answer her question, and that way I could share this video with the whole class. And I also did to Maya what I may do to some of you if you ask me questions like that. I said, I have to remember to do this now, and that's the hard thing for me sometimes. So can you please remind me, if you haven't seen me do this, to do it? And that's always useful for me because I usually get the reminders when I'm at my computer, and when I'm here I can do stuff, right? But if I get the reminder in class, by the time I get home my mind's gone 5 different directions. So thank you, Maya. She sent me the reminder, and here I am. All right, so a few things I want to suggest. Now, some of it I mentioned a little bit already, but let's kind of imagine bringing all this together. So the first thing is piece of advice number 1. Stay on top of your courses. Don't let them get behind you. And part of that is the deadlines. Really know when deadlines are. If you can stay on top of the courses, if you can keep up with your readings, and in fact, what I would really recommend is keep a little ahead of the lectures if you can. Try to be in a place in the textbook that's a little ahead of the lectures so that you've already started to think about the concepts before you come to class. And then when you hear about them in class, you can really ask yourself, do I got it? And if you don't have it, you can ask the professor in class to be a little more clear about whatever. So yeah, if you can at least keep up with the readings and stay ahead, that's critical thing number 1. What else can you do? Well, one thing I recommend is when you're reading things, to write multiple choice questions. Literally to create multiple choice questions as though you were a teaching assistant. And why would you do that? Well, because when you read some information and then turn it into a multiple choice question, when you kind of ask, what would this look like? How could I be asked about this? You think about it a little bit differently. And you kind of you start to see the multiple choice questions after you read stuff. If you get some practice, I'm going to read, I'm going to create a multiple choice. I'm going to read, I'm going to create a multiple choice. You can also, by the way, share multiple choice questions with each other if you do that. If you have a buddy in the course, you can say, hey, I'll give you my questions, you give me yours. We can practice that way. But it's really about the process of thinking about the material in a sort of multiple choice way. And if you get good at doing that, then once you start reading it, you're going to read the material a little different. You're almost going to see the multiple choice questions in it. And then when you get to the exams, it won't be freaky. You'll already kind of be in that mindset a little bit. Okay, so stay ahead. Create some multiple choice questions as you're going through and reading things. But then what I'm also going to suggest is that you create a mind map. And so show you this is just YouTube, and I've just said how to create concept maps or mind maps. You can do either one, and you will see examples all over here. And I'm going to kind of pick this person's example, I guess, a little bit, not really just the picture that's there, because one thing I suggest is, okay, now it's off doing its thing. One thing I suggest is as you go through the chapter, every term or every name that seems like it's something that could be asked about, write it down. Every term, every name, every sort of new thing for you. And then at the end of the chapter, you're going to connect these concepts via concept maps or mind maps. You're going to kind of say, hey, this concept is related to that. And what that's going to do is it's going to help you understand things at a deeper level. So in fact, you can almost see this as a companion to flashcards. So I would also suggest you use flashcards. Okay, and you can find, by the way, Intro Psych, if you just say Intro Psych flashcards, Intro Psychology flashcards, I'm sure you will find all sorts of opportunities to get at various flashcards related to it. And I believe there's even some related, maybe connected with the text stuff. There may be some flashcards in the textbook stuff. That's good for memorizing things. And that's part of your challenge. Concept maps are good for understanding them, to really get to that deeper level. And when we ask you multiple choice questions, we try to get at your understanding as well as your ability to just remember things. We try to ask questions that tap different levels of knowledge. And so if you're kind of combining flashcard kind of learning with concept maps, then you're really kind of getting, a really good understanding of that chapter. Cool. That's pretty much, for the most part. I'm going to suggest something else in a second, but for the most part, that's it. Stay ahead of your readings. Consider writing multiple choice questions as you read, as an active way of interacting with the material. Use flashcards to get all your terminology and all your memorization stuff well. Use concept maps to get a deeper understanding of the material and how it's all connected. Okay. Now, there's one other thing I would say to all of you. You now live in a world of AI, and here I am with ChatGPT over here, ChatGPT 3.5, free. Okay, you can find it online if you want. And just to kind of show you how you could start using ChatGPT to help you do well in a class. This is an example. I don't know if you've never used ChatGPT before. It's just Google on steroids, okay? You come to this thing, you have a place where you can ask stuff, but you can ask really powerful things. So for example, I just asked this: could you create an intro psych multiple choice exam for me that covers the first half of a typical course and then includes 4 options per question and has questions at different levels of Bloom's hierarchy? You might not know what Bloom's hierarchy is. Check it out. You'll find out. It's about that different testing at different levels of knowledge. Okay, but then off it goes. Sure, here's an example. And look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Bunch of questions. Now, I could have asked that better. I could have actually even said, hey, can you focus on this textbook that we're using and ask me questions on chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, etc. And it will generate for you a practice exam. Okay, you can use ChatGPT in all sorts of ways to help you study. And this is just an example of that. And so, hey, it's there. It's a tool, and it's going to be a tool in your future. And so for my part, I say use the tool. Use it to try to do better work than you could do without it. Okay, and that's the idea. All right, so that's my sort of quick wrap up of some things you can do to do well in this course. I wish you all the best. By the way, these will help you in almost any first year breadth course, any first year course where you're learning a broad topic like psychology or sociology or physics or philosophy, whatever it may be. So all of these tips that I've given you here, apply them in any of your course situations, and they should help you do better. All right. Stop it there. No, I'm not stopping there. I'm going to add one little thing. Earlier today, my wife and I went for a hike at the Rouge Hill campsite. It's beautiful, and it's going to get more beautiful over the next few weeks as fall hits. If you need a good walk in nature, freshen your mind, get some fresh air, see some beautiful fall colors, I highly recommend. I think it's called the Rouge Campsite or Camp whatever. It's on Kingston Road, in that little dip. Park there, hop on in, and before long you'll be in some beautiful, beautiful nature. Okay, there's my nature insanity tip for you. And now I will leave it here. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend.